Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Welcome to Meta News. I'm your host, El Blanco, reporting for Meta News from the Blanco Business segment, providing Horizon World members with unique information for incorporating your business. Okay, today we continue with the business plan. The last section we stopped at was payment terms and credit lines. This section is gonna allow you to tell your particular investors um, how you plan to accept payments from your customers, whether you're gonna offer them a credit line, and if you do, you're gonna have to have a credit policy. So those are different ways that you can accept payment, but credit will increase your business more likely by 40% than if you didn't. Next section on the plan will be the management and organization. This section should really illustrate how your business is going to be organized, because you're going to list your key members of the management team. You're going to list the founders and any owners, the board members, and any advisors that's attached to it. And you would want to provide a summary of their experience and the roles that are going to play within your company. In this particular section, you're going to really treat it like it's a small series of mini resumes. Now, when you're dealing with your resumes is going to be just summaries of the key managers and the employees, and it should talk about their experience and these individuals that what kind of history they have in managing or running a business. And those are the main things that you should cover in your resume summaries. Then you have management gaps. You got to let them know if there's any gaps in your management team. You're going to explain how you plan to fill those gaps. For instance, if you don't have marketing experience, you're going to let them know that you plan on hiring a chief marketer. And when my company helps people get set up, we typically plan out, make a plan for everything your new company is probably going to need in the beginning. So those are advisors, and mainly those advisors are typically called consultants, and you bring them on for the first year or so. Anyway, we use the term advisors, and actually that's the next segment that comes up. Um, the advisors are the ones you're going to list. You're going to list a member of professional advisories. Typically, it's called an advisory support team. Others calls it an advisory board. In this case, you would provide a brief biography of each of these members and a small explanation of how they're going to support your business. Then your business plan is going to have an organizational chart, and it's going to just an illustration of your existing team and any new roles that you plan on filling. That organizational chart will cover that. And then the next section would be budgets and expenses. And in this section, you're basically going to discuss all your initial expenses, like your startup expenses, and the expenses that the business will incur during the year, and any capital that the business will have on this balance sheet in terms of assets and types of funds that are available, from any other funding that you may have gotten or the initial investment that you placed in there. And in general, the startup expenses are listed, and they're separated, and but they're going to be really all the business expenses that you will incur in starting up the business. And some of those expenses that you're going to incur that you need to be aware of will be research, insurance, and licensing. You're going to have technology and the equipment. Of course, you will need legal fees and marketing fees. Also, you need to develop budgets, and your startup expenses may not cover the budgets, but you will have a section for the budget. You're gonna always keep in mind that your business normally always require more money than what you will initially expect. So you're gonna have to have a contingency plan for getting additional funds. And we will have contingency plans built into the business plans that we help our members set up. Also, you need to plan for capital, capital funds. That means if you don't have current investors, you need to find out how much capital that you plan to raise, and in other ways you will get capital, which are like government capital, or we just say commercial funds, which is loans from for being a commercial entity, and different types of business loans that you can get from banks, lending institutions, as well as small angel investors who may want to take an interest in your company to make money with your company. Then you're gonna have to consider putting in your business plan the personal financial statements, so that if the goal of the business is to acquire financing, you got to include the personal financial statements for each of the owners and any key stockholder. They tend to look at the people that's behind the business in terms of determining what type of assets or liabilities are are with the business, and they typically are concerned with the personal net worth of each individual stockholder. Next, there's a financial plan, which is providing a detailed overview of your finances. So you will include historical data in this, if you have a historical data. But in that financial plan, you're going to have your projections, such as cash flow projections. You're going to have a profit and loss statement projection, balance sheets, and sales plans. And those things have to be precise and accurate. So you will more than likely use a professional accountant to help you make sure that these things are in there, because you're doing projections based on the market. And then there's cash flow projections or statements, and it tracks how much cash your business has coming in and going out at any given time. And if you don't have a cash flow statement because you're starting out, you're gonna have to provide the one that's a projection. You project these cash flows. So you're gonna have things like to consider: inventory, rents, payrolls, market expenses, or customer payments. And then next you will have a profit and loss projection, which is the profit and loss statement, is how they normally refer to it, which is going to be the total revenue for a business against how much debt and expenses it has going out. So they typically call these, income statements, and earning statements and revenue statements, and such as operating statements as well. They have different words for these, and basically, depending on who you're dealing with, they may call it one of those different things. And parts of those profit and loss statements are like three parts, where you will subtract the cost of goods sold from the revenue, and that'll represent the gross profit. And other calculations, I'm not gonna go. I just realized I'm not gonna go through those, because you would have to actually see those and visualize those. So, but there's three parts to a profit and loss statement that your accountant will help you understand. And then there's a balance sheet. It's a projected balance sheet, because now you're thinking about what the business owns or expect to own, such as real estate, vehicles, office equipment, or whatever. What type of revenue you expect to make or take in. And when you start taking in revenue, it goes on the balance sheet as an accounts receivable. And then you have expenses that you plan to pay out, and that'll be on the sheet as an accounts payable. Again, these are accounting terms, and you will have professionals to help you understand those things and develop those. And then you will have a sales plan, and you'll need to create a sales forecast, because depending on where you're selling volume or where you're selling services, you will have to have a full scale sales plan, because the investors will want to know how you plan on moving this stuff in the market, moving your services or your goods. And last but not least, there will be appendices, right? You will attach any supporting document that's relevant to each section of your business plan. And some of these items will include having agreements like contracts, intellectual property such as trademark licenses and patents to whatever services or products you own or you have a title to, resumes of owners and key employees, insurance policies, advertising and marketing materials, blueprints and plans, list of equipment, market research, and a list of other things such as assets and collateral. So this concludes the business plan template information that we're working with. And again, you can contact me or send me a text through Instagram or on the YouTube page, requesting a copy of this particular template I've been reading from. And you can get started with me by asking any questions you need to ask based on it as you go through each segment. And we want to thank you for making Meta News your choice for business news in Horizon Worlds. So every Monday, you can follow up with us or on our Instagram page or our YouTube channels to view all Meta News segments. Thank you.